What's up, folks? You are tuned into the Failing Frequency. My name's Ethan.
And I'm Mike.
And we are here today to talk all things Trek. How you doing, Mike?
I'm tired and sad. I've spent the day researching what we're talking about today, so I'm sad.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Ethan?
Yeah, pretty bummed. Pretty bummed
Yeah.
out, man. It's a sad time for Trekkies around the world as we all mourn the passing of Star Trek alum Nichelle Nichols, who obviously played Nyota Uhura in Star Trek, the original series, and throughout the films.
Yeah.
Sad day, man.
It is. We had a couple of deaths last week that we talked about, quick ones. But and we're hopefully going to move on to a happier topic this week. But there's no way that we can move past someone who had that sort of impact to the show without talking about her. So here we are talking sad times. Sadly.
Yeah, I mean, she was very important. She was important to Trek. She was important to Trek lore. And she was an important woman in Hollywood, in film and TV. Particularly TV. She was a real trailblazer.
Yeah,
it's not often that I get to use that word. Without being like ironic about something stupid.
Yeah.
Usually when I use the word trailblazer, it's like,
with
someone
heap of
horrible
sarcasm.
it's with a hint of sarcasm. It's, talking about some horrible person from history and how they blazed the trail for some horrible douchebag from today. Because we don't usually get a lot of like positive stuff these days, but Nichelle Nichols did a lot of positive stuff in the world. She had a big positive impact on everyone. So I'm kicking the thing.
Yeah. So we were going to talk through today, Nichelle Nichols before Trek, during Trek, obviously, and a bit after Trek, and really go from there. Go through all of her impact, or as much as the impact as we can fit in this short time for someone who had such a long and glorious life.
But I guess we'll start with like probably the most important thing, which is what other celebrities had to say on the matter. That was me being ironic.
I get irony.
We're gonna try and be positive.
Well, not positive, but
not positive. No, we're not gonna try and be positive about it, but we're gonna try and.
We'll try and interlace humor. Let's say.
Yeah, we're gonna try and not be completely goth about it.
Yeah. Well, Nichelle Nichols was a happy, smiley person, and if we can
she certainly
honor her while being a bit smiley as well, and not let the darkness overcome us, then that's nice as well.
Yeah. So we got the announcement early in the morning of. Wait, let me get the date.
I think it was the 31st. We got it.
The 31st. Yeah. So early in the morning, we got a post on Uhura.com from Nichelle Nichols' son, Kyle Johnson. Dear friends, fans, colleagues, world, I regret to inform you that a great light in the firmament no longer shines for us as it has for so many years. Last night, my mother, Nichelle Nichols, succumbed to natural causes and passed away. Her light, however, like the ancient galaxies, now being seen for the first time, will remain for us and future generations to enjoy, learn from, and draw inspiration. Brought in all this stuff with citing the James Webb Telescope in his... Cool.
Cool.
And it goes on, and I definitely, I'll send you the links, and you can leave the links, in the doobly doo, as it were, so people can go there and check that stuff out. But where did you hear about it? Like, how did you hear about it?
I heard about it on Facebook from one of the many Trek groups, and shared it through. And when I shared it, it was just, I think, an Insta post that hadn't been confirmed anywhere else. So there was a bit of say it's not so. Around.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. I saw it. I got it. Of all places, it was a post shared in a Star Trek Online group. And by the time I found it, the comments had been turned off, and all the comments were just like bullshit.
Yeah.
No, like you say it ain't so.
Yeah. Well, it's the trouble when someone who's like pretty pure passes, then they're always gonna be a lot of say it's not so comments. I say it's pretty pure. I'm sure if someone real dastardly died as well, half the comments would be said isn't so. Alex Jones.
Plus I'm sure she wasn't. I'm sure she wasn't.
Yeah, she wasn't. Of course.
I'm sure she wasn't all pure, baby.
Well,
she was in Hollywood in the '60s.
Yeah, I've got a tiny bit on that in a second.
Oh, nice. But we'll see some other stuff. So some of Nichelle Nichols' co-stars shared their thoughts. George Takei wrote, when my husband Brad and I got married, we asked Walter Koenig, who played Ensign Chekhov, to be our best man, and we asked Nichelle to be our matron of honor.
Yes,
in her
characteristic,
no, whatever. See you later. Yeah. In her characteristic fashion, Nichelle declared, "I am not a matron. If Walter can be best man, why can't I be best lady?"
Yeah,
she was the best lady. And then George Takei goes on in classic George Takei fashion to explain the joke.
Good old George.
Good old George.
Yeah.
Walter Koenig, who obviously played Chekhov, as mentioned before. My heart goes out to Nichelle's son Kyle, Nichelle's sisters, and Sky Conway, who stood by and up for our dear co-worker Nichelle Nichols. Nichols is these very trying past years. That I'm just reading that how that's written. Whatever. That ain't written. He ain't written that right.
He is 85. We'll let him go.
Yeah, it's fine. Love always is the important bit.
Yeah.
That was 4 days ago. 14 hours ago, he was advertising an appearance at a con. That was clearly written by him. That was clearly written by his assistant. Anyway. He mentioned Sky Conway there. Sky Conway, apparently friend of the family, and also the director of a couple of Star Trek fan films that also starred Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
Which so that's how he got her. That's how he got her.
Yeah. Helps bring the money in for them if they get typecast, I suppose.
Yeah. That's the thing. Then we had a lot of things said by some other Star Trek alums. I'll just read a small selection of Zoe Saldana's because Zoe Saldana had a lot to say. She wrote on a.
To be fair to Zoe Saldana, she did go see Nichelle Nichols before she played Uhura, to get approval, and it was kind of a handing of the torch. So she can say a bit. It's not a celebrity who's never met her, just going wild on it.
She wrote, "We've lost a true star, a unique artist who was ahead of her time always. She's an icon, an activist, and most importantly, an amazing woman who blazed a trail that has shown so many how to see women of color in a different light." She was she was very important. She was an important part of representation for women in the Black community and the Black community as a whole. In the latter part of the 60s and the entire time that Star Trek was in syndication. Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
A trailblazer, a heroine, and an extraordinary woman. Someone who inspired millions and millions of people, but inspired me. Nichelle was the first black person I'd ever seen who made it to the future. It just made me feel like that was an amazing thing, and she helped propel other women to go into space. She was extraordinary, and I was lucky enough to spend time with her over the years. She was my friend, and she will be missed.
So
Yeah.
for Whoopi in particular, has told her story many a time that she saw Uhura on TV and ran from her TV to tell her mum there was a black woman on TV and she wasn't a maid,
Yeah.
which then got Whoopi, when Star Trek was coming back, got Whoopi to go to Roddenberry and say that she wanted a part.
Mm-hmm.
So we wouldn't have Guinan, at all if it wasn't for Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah. The sad reality of, society, throughout the, you know, one of
Mm-hmm.
the many sad things about society, which we live in, um, you know, is that at one point in the 70s, a little black girl was watching TV and she, for the first time saw a black woman, like her on TV
Not
doing
just
something.
picking
And
up
she thinks
stuff.
to herself, wait a minute,
Mm.
I can do that,
Yeah,
for the first time thinking that that's something that she can do.
it's
Um,
it's the point of representation matters,
mhm.
and where the '60s, '70s, or late '60s Trek had to deal with some issues. Current Trek has to deal with other issues that still play into the representation matters game.
Oh, yeah, it
So
definitely rhymes.
it shows why this shit's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's important then to show people that whoever you are, you have a chance of being anyone, or if you can change society or if society changes, you can be anyone, and it's the same now.
Hmm. Absolutely.
We say as two white guys on a podcast.
Yeah, like that. The irony is not lost on us
Yeah, yeah,
at all. Sonequa Martin Green. It's important to think outside of the box because that's very much what Nichelle did. Being an actor is great, but she went beyond that. She sort of set her dreams as an actor to the side and said, I'm going to dedicate myself to my community and I'm going to dedicate myself to progression and to the future and to the world, really. Nichelle was an outside of the box thinker, you know,
mm-hmm.
that's cool. I mean, I guess you kind of, like we say, black woman in Hollywood in the 60s and 70s, you've got to you've
Yeah.
got to be quick. You got to be quick with it,
Mm.
you know? Because fucking you're surrounded by fucking white people. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Mike, but white people are dodgy as fuck.
Especially in the '60s,
Yeah, dude.
Again, there's a story I'll come back to. I'm queuing it
Mm-hmm.
up. I've queued it twice. I'll come back to it.
LeVar Burton. Heartbroken at the news of her passing, however, I am comforted in the knowledge that she illuminated the way for so many of us with her grace, beauty, talent, intelligence, and her commitment to humanity, going boldly to the stars. Hashtag goddess, hashtag queen. I love that.
Yeah,
Hashtag queen.
easily.
Totally. Um,
I mean, you look at any celebrity that's attached to Trek, there's going to be a tweet about the impact from Nichelle Nichols over the years and the impact to them.
mhm,
It's genre defining, and the whole point of Star Trek back then. Hopefully, same again now.
mhm.
Having a black woman, having an Asian guy, having a Russian guy, having an alien. So it's the whole point of Trek, and you can understand why people have poured out love on Twitter.
Absolutely. So just one last tweet that I'm going to read out, because what the fuck am I doing reading out celebrity tweets anyway? But this one's from, a cool one, NASA. Obviously, Nichelle Nichols did a lot of work with NASA over the years. So they put, we celebrate the life of Nichelle Nichols, Star Trek actor, trailblazer, there's that word again, and role model, who symbolized to so many of us what was possible. She partnered with us to recruit some of the first women and minority astronauts and inspired generations to reach for the stars. And they tweeted a lovely picture of her, lovely black and white photo of her at NASA Central Command, which that's a really nice photo.
It is.
So, yeah.
What I would avoid doing for the people out there is looking for tweets from NASA about Nichelle Nichols pre-2000 and let's say 13. In the Nichelle Nichols, I was shown even beforehand, had a Twitter account of her own, or publicist ran a Twitter account. As
I mean, I imagine that like this is going to start popping up.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I found it myself today.
I can't believe that this has been on the internet for 10 years.
Yeah. So we don't do too much research for an episode of Failing Frequency.
No, what are we, nerds?
What are we, nerds reading stuff?
Nerds.
But today I went out and started collating a bit of stuff and stumbled on a tweet from NASA from 2012 of Nichelle Nichols visiting the shuttle Endeavour display. Yeah. And it's a lovely photo of because she works so hard with NASA, of course. They've tagged Nichelle, of course.
Nice.
Because that's what you do, Twitter. It's all about synergy and tagging people and being tagged back.
Absolutely.
What I wouldn't recommend for people is following through on that tag, because it seems at some point between 2012 and 2014, she relinquished her username and someone else took it upon themselves. And
someone called Nichelle.
Someone called Nichelle, who is, accordingly, a mature teacher.
Oh, yes, she's a very mature teacher.
She is a mature teacher.
Yeah, man, she's got some cake. This chick, this popular Twitter page for your much-loved porno celebrity. Oh, yes, everyone's most loved porno celebrity, mature teacher. Yes. Goodness me, she's only tweeted once in 2014.
Everyone says about, and I think we said last episode of this about people's Twitter accounts being, took and used after their death. And obviously, you don't want to be just promoting stuff. You don't want to be Stan Lee's account who's just promoting every Marvel movie after he died.
Yeah, that's gross.
But still, if you're a blue checkmark person, maybe the idea should be that your account just gets held in perpetuity anyway.
Wait a minute. I think I know. So I think I know what's happened here. So Nichelle Nichols' old Twitter handle was real Nichelle Nichols.
Oh, so if they left the space.
That's the tweet. They've left the space. And so the link has just been the real Nichelle. So that is at real Nichelle. We're assigning a level of malice to that poor round-bootied woman. We're assigning an element of malice to this. A teacher.
But yeah, she's a teacher. How could we? Teachers, especially in America and worldwide, need our support.
Absolutely.
I would say that she made the account after the NASA mistake, if it was a NASA mistake rather than Nichelle Nichols Twitter changing its
Absolutely.
handle.
Yeah, and I mean, I was gonna say I doubt she was on NASA's Twitter and then was like, "Hang on, they
Yeah.
left a space in there. That frees up at real Nichelle." I would say she maybe didn't think of that, but you know, she is a teacher, so she might be a nerd.
And she's got, if you're looking for free traffic, that real Nichelle got real traffic from me today at least once, going, "What the hell's happening here?"
Yeah, I'm on here. I'm checking. Yeah, I'm checking out. I'm on here.
Yeah, Ethan's checking it out.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ethan will save it for later to check out in higher detail, no doubt. See if that link still works.
Yeah, it definitely still works.
Yeah. Okay. Good lad. Good lad.
So
doing
I
the
guess
Cardassian neck trick just through.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's talk
about Nichelle. Anyway.
Let's talk about Nichelle. Let's talk about the life of Nichelle Nichols. I learned something crazy today. Something that I feel like I should have known before today. Nichelle Nichols, born December 28th, 1932, in a suburb of Chicago. I've got it written down here. Robbins, Illinois. She was born Grace Dell Nichols. What the F?
Yeah, didn't know as well. She asked her parents to change it as a young, like a young person, to say, this name doesn't fit me, and named herself after Nike, the god, and L, making it female, apparently. So it's
man,
Nike L.
But yeah, so Nichelle Nichols, originally born Grace, born to Samuel Earl and Licia Nichols. Samuel Earl was a factory worker and was later elected the mayor of Robbins, Illinois in 1929. That's cool, man. For a working man in office, one of the people.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
What we like.
People in politics. Currently, the political situation here in the UK is a bit fucking cartoonish.
Yeah.
And a few less cartoons and a few more people would be great.
Sadly not.
Nope. Nichelle Nichols started acting pretty much straight from high school. She immediately she went and chased her dreams, man.
A singer and a dancer, or she trained to do ballet from an incredibly young age, and she was a working singer and dancer from 14.
Wow, that's man.
Which is
who needs to go to college? I got time to go to college. I've got a job.
And got her big break apparently from Duke Ellington. So not the one from Big Mouth, or the one from Big Mouth, but not the ghost of. Gave her a big break singing when his singer, was out. So pulled her in to fill the role because she could hit high notes and had a low voice as well.
Oh man, that's one of those like old school rock and roll stories. Like, I was the understudy. I was the stand-in. That's the plot to that stupid Mark Wahlberg movie. He got pulled in on stage. He got pulled off backstage.
I was going to say, I don't think Mark Wahlberg could play Nichelle Nichols convincingly.
No. Yeah, I love that. That's a great story. Classic Hollywood / rock and roll history kind of story. That's cool,
man. One of the first acting gigs was on The Lieutenant, which was a Gene Roddenberry series. That was 1964. Unfortunately, from what I read about it, because I wasn't alive in 1964, if you couldn't tell, my crow's eyes may look like it. But it was an episode specifically about race because, it was obviously important to Gene Roddenberry, if you look at old Star Trek. And the episode wasn't aired because it was too race heavy. So fantastic.
Jesus.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like,
1964. 1964.
Gene Roddenberry would go on to tell those stories.
Yeah.
And the way in which he was able to tell those stories is by dressing up white folks in makeup and sticking shit to their faces and using them as metaphors for race.
Yeah.
And because that at the time that was the only way you could do that. So it's not surprising to hear that story got cancelled. When it got originally made, because they were trying to tell a real story about real people.
Yeah.
And can't have too much
Can't
realism
have
in. Can't have too much. You got realism in my escapism.
Yeah. About my war story that, in World War II, there were, semi-integrated, units. But, you obviously can't have that. Oh, that's outrageous.
No, we can't. We don't need to. We don't. We had integrated units in the army. Don't remind us.
Yeah. But, that sort of kickback apparently spurred on Gene Roddenberry, and he had words with Nichelle Nichols saying, I kind of want to do something about a multiracial show about how, people can live together, which then eventually developed into Star Trek, which got her invited back. I didn't know before my researching the episode, she was having an affair with Roddenberry before Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently during it until very late during the original filming.
Yeah, dude. Like, as ahead of the curve, we've said it here on the Failing Frequency many
we definitely
times.
said it last week. He's,
while he had
Roddenberry had failings. He was a man who had failings.
He was ahead of the curve in some ways and like deeply problematic in others. Ahead of the curve in his ideas on race, deeply problematic in his views on women.
Yeah.
He cheated on his ex-wife with Nichelle Nichols and Major Barrett Roddenberry. He made an honest woman of Major Barrett. Fucking
I mean, can you imagine? Thankfully, they've stomped out by today's standards a Hollywood producer just sleeping around with actresses. Thankfully, they've stomped that out, and we live in a more enlightened time.
Well, yes.
So
that being said, I'm fairly certain it still happens.
Yeah. So even if
Hollywood's fucked up,
even if we judge Roddenberry by like today's standards, he's not apparently that much worse than half the producers in Hollywood.
Hollywood is a it's a desert. It's a desert oasis filled with fucking sex criminals and maniacs.
Yep. And it'll chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you fucking love it.
But you love it.
You fucking love it. You want more.
Yeah. So Nichols came in to read for a part, and at the time that she was reading, the communications officer wasn't written for her, and she was reading Spock's lines.
Whoa.
As a can you just read this to see if you're half decent, as an actor or an actress.
Can you just read these so that we can see that you can read?
Yeah. Can you read these
racist motherfuckers?
Imagine giving anyone lines to read and being like, we just want to check that you're an actress. Can you play this? We've given you these lines for someone who is completely non-emotional or like has buried their emotions.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be your part. But can we get you to read them? Why wouldn't you just get them to read I don't know, Rand or whatever her name was going to be at the time, or Kirk or Bones, someone who had emotion like on the regular. So ridiculous to me.
So wait, are you telling me that at one point there was a Schrodinger's cat of Nichelle Nichols as a Vulcan called Rand?
No. She apparently said, well, if I'm reading this part, why can't I play it? And they went, well, Leonard Nimoy won't be happy if you're playing his role. So, like, Spock had already been cast previously, and it was just a case of like, oh, can you read this? Because we don't have any lines for you. We haven't written your character yet.
Oh, right. Okay. I see what's happening. So just read some lines so we can see if you know how to read copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Let's prove you're an actress. Okay.
Prove you're an actress by reading the least emotional character on the show.
I guess that, let's see if she can play this, what will probably be an easy part, by getting her to read the most hardest lines. Hardest. Super good grammar, Ethan. Yeah. I'm British. This is the Queen's English. Fuck the Queen. Except Nichelle Nichols, #Queen.
The Queen. Yeah.
Good Queen.
But through the writing of the character, when she came into an audition that time, she was carrying a book called Uhura, which is based on apparently, or the word is the Swahili word for struggle, or no, freedom. And it was a book about the struggle of the Swahili people or whatever. Mm-hmm. And trying to pin down the name of the character, she said, well, you like the name of the book I was carrying. Why don't we just turn that into a more feminine name and change the U at the end to an A? And, Uhura born.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I didn't know that story. That's nice. That's some nice inside Star Trek.
Yeah. So obviously, Nichelle Nichols is on track at this point. Goes through a season, and first season of Trek wasn't particularly well received, let's say.
Genre stuff,
Well,
small,
like
it starts off with small communities. Sci-fi.
Yeah,
used to be very, very niche.
Now the nerds have won, but back then,
yeah, man, in the golden age of being a cool guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to sort this out.
So,
trying to get comfortable.
Yeoman Rand, and I can't remember a name to save my life. I'll flash it up if I can't remember. The actress who played Yeoman Rand was obviously decided was going to be a bigger role and was potentially going to be a romance character for Kirk. Also left Trek because it wasn't performing that well. And for a character that you think is in so many episodes, was in like 12 maybe. But Nichelle Nichols handed in her notice because she kept on getting scripts, and the first draft would be like she would do something, and then it would go through 10 drafts, including Gene Roddenberry, and she would just say like, "Oh, comms open" or whatever. Hailing frequencies
open.
Yeah, like the name
of this, but but better because we suck.
Yeah,
we're called failing frequencies because we suck.
Yeah. But she felt like it was being diminished in part because of her, race and sexuality and stuff like that, or gender. Sorry, not sexuality. So she decided that she wasn't going to stay for the second season. She was going to leave for Broadway. Handed in her notice to Gene Roddenberry and said, like, I'm gone. And then went to a party at the NAACP. Oh, NAACP, sorry.
The NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Yeah.
It's still called that, so until they change it.
Yeah. It's not nice, though, is it?
No, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't feel good saying it.
No.
But I know what you mean, but
I know that's the
Like,
actual name. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We can't change
Move
the name
on,
that it is.
move
Yeah.
on, Mike.
Yeah.
Move on.
Everyone knows this fucking story anyway.
Yeah, everyone knows the story.
Yeah, but at the event, she met Martin Luther King Jr., who said that Trek was his favorite show, only show that he let the kids stay up to watch because it had, black people doing decent jobs in the future and not just being cleaners and, absolute crap like that. And when Nichelle Nichols said that she was going to leave the show, he said, "You absolutely can't because, they could replace you. You're not written as a you don't need a black person on comms. You could be replaced by a white guy, an alien. You could MRES. You could be replaced by a sexy Catwoman. You could be replaced by anyone. So if you leave, you've shut the door on representation in the future for black people. So you've got to stay." So she went back to Gene Roddenberry, said, "Can I have my job back?" And he ripped up her resignation in front of her, which is, all good.
Yep. Yeah.
I think I covered that story pretty quickly, considering everyone's already heard that story.
Everyone's heard that story, especially now.
Yeah.
I've definitely told people that story in the past few days. I've learned some new elements of that story. So I've heard in the past few days, I've heard that story being told a few times. Some versions of the story, Nichelle Nichols' resignation was already ripped up, and Gene Roddenberry just pulled the pieces up out of his drawer. Apparently, he'd ripped it up the second she gave it to him.
Yeah,
it's just like, that's not happening.
Which is almost worse if you're the producer sleeping with the actress.
Yeah. But, and in other versions of the story, Gene Roddenberry had a hand in orchestrating this meeting between the two.
I've heard that side as well,
but the element that I've learned that I like the most in the past few days is an interview that Nichelle Nichols did with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where she tells him that Martin Luther King was like, a proper Trekkie, like he was into Star Trek. And apparently at one point he said, it can be filled by anyone, but also you're important. You're like fourth or fifth in command of the ship.
Yeah.
And Nichelle Nichols said, "I am? I didn't know that."
Yeah.
Martin Luther King did.
Yeah, and convinced her to do stuff beyond Trek, would it be a much different place if it wasn't for that meeting?
Yeah.
Not just Star Trek, the world,
Who do you think she would have? Who would she have been good in? Oh, I could see
who would she be
Nichols
good in?
Who would she be good as? The mother in Fences.
I haven't seen the original Fences, to be fair.
I
saw the remake. But we don't want to just put her in black roles. If you put her in black roles, you're feeding into it, man. You need to.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, when did Oz come out?
Yeah. Stella from A Streetcar Named Desire.
Stella.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Nichelle Nichols and Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
No, that's an image.
Could have gone on to do being an amazing actress, of course, but didn't do that much. But while we're on Trek, do you have any favorite episodes you want to talk about? Horror episodes or things Uhura did in episodes?
So obviously I'm a perv.
Okay. You're going to talk mirror then.
Yeah. So obviously, perv is maybe a strong word. I'm very self-deprecating.
Don't worry, I had it on my list as well.
I like to think of myself as sex positive.
Yeah.
And just one thing I want to point out, obviously, mirror. She's looking spicy in that episode. Her stomach is nice.
Yeah.
Like I'm a stomach guy. I like a nice stomach. I like a nice back. Whatever. She's got a nice back.
Didn't notice her back. No, I noticed
nice
her stomach. I noticed
she's got a lovely stomach. She's got a lovely back. That bit where she gets the knife out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Spicy,
sexy woman waving a yeah, man. Spicy lady waving a knife around. I'm down with that. I love her singing roles. I love the in the episode where is it Heading Off to Eden episode where she's singing with Spock.
Charlie X, that is.
Is it Charlie X?
Yeah.
Where she's singing with Spock and she's got that kind of like she's doing a kind of like affected, not quite an affected baritone, but like she's got this kind of like jazz kind of lowered octave kind of thing going on where she's almost warbling. That's cool. It's kind of jazzy. I dig that. Very very jazz hall.
On the Starship Enterprise, there's someone who's in Satan's guise, whose devil ears and devil eyes could rip your heart from you.
It's pretty flirty between them as well. Like I've got in my notes, like probably helped with the idea for the reboot that those two could be a couple.
Well, yeah, that and like
singing together and playing music together.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I guess that's it.
I've got in mind, and some of these are only lines, so breeze past them very quickly. We can. In the Naked Time, when Sulu's like high on, I don't know, it's pretty much special water, isn't it? Where he's saying like, "I'll protect you, fair maiden," and she says, "Sorry, I'm neither," or "Sorry, neither." So she's not fair skinned, not a maiden. Great stuff.
Hey, she did a callback to that when Sulu when George Takei. When George Takei has the things. Don't you remember episode fucking whatever?
Yeah.
I'm no maiden.
Yeah.
I'm the best lady. That's cool.
Not a great Uhura episode, or not a great episode for Uhura, but the Changeling, Nomad wipes her mind.
Gosh.
And then you see her learning from like the level of like a child. So she's reading like, dog will run, dog chase ball. Oh, great, I can read again. So apparently in the universe, Uhura lost all of her intellect and got taught up like a child again.
I've mentioned before that we that in the beta canon in a book that I do think is very good, just because it's got a very cool sci-fi concept at the end. But yeah, they go into detail that like it retroactively adds in a few months of rehabilitation that happened between episodes.
Thankfully,
but the long-term effects of that are that like she lost touch with her family because of that.
Well, to be fair,
like, and the part of the
her
reason...
family in the constantly evolving Alpha canon is dead. So
so I guess they kind of like that kind of proto retroactively sort of discounts her from the pain of having to
well, she has to learn her family's dead again.
Yeah, well, I mean, she has to learn her family's dead again, but at least she has to get over. She just has to get back to a place that she's already been in in living memory. She loses contact with her family because she feels nothing for them, and having anything to do with them brings on immense feelings of guilt because she couldn't give a fuck. Because I don't know who you are. I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, she's not like that in the book. In the book, she's much more sensitive. But to sum it up, she didn't know who these fucking people were, and they were all cooing over her. And she's just like, this is just making me super uncomfortable because, like, you people are strangers, and you're all fucking touching me and shit.
Nah. Not on.
Yeah.
Other episodes, I always remembered, and I do have to go back for episode titles, so they are in my notes. Who Mourns for Adonis? The whole comms panel gets shot out, or like can't work going to the surface. So she's underneath it in work clothes, being like hooking up wires again. And Spock dives down as like in charge, the captain of the ship at that point, and is like, "How's it going?" Oh, and she's like, "I haven't done this in years, I'm trying to fix this." And he's like, "There's no one more capable for this," and he just leaves again. So again,
which is pretty much like the same conversation that Spock has with Uhura every time they see each other in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, you're an incredibly capable person.
Oh my
Let's
God,
get this done,
mate. Listen, like insecurities, they last your whole life.
Yeah. I've got The Savage Curtain, which is the episode that President Lincoln turns up.
Now that's a weird one. That's a weird one. Now that's a weird one because
I haven't put the best episodes. I put these as like episodes with notable horror.
That is a sentiment that I have heard in one place and one place only, and that is in that episode. That is an opinion that I have never heard anybody say ever.
Yeah.
That is definitely a white man's somewhat misguided idea of acceptance and equality in the future.
Yeah. So
that people are going to be okay with being called various different versions of the N-word. Because it's like, why would I be offended? It's what I am.
She says, in our set, why would I object to be calling object to that term, a different version of the N-word, as we said. In our century, we've learned not to fear those words.
It's I mean, like, as well, and it's also like, it's also the most sexist version of the N-word I've ever heard. I didn't know you could make the N-word worse. But they do it in this episode by also making it sexist.
Yeah. I try to retroactively spin it, and I know it is not the context in which it was written. Whereas Uhura goes like, "Oh, I know you're supposedly from the past, so I know this was probably an accepted term in your lifetime, so I'm not going to be incredibly offended by it." But still, not great, Star Trek. Yikes. I know what you're trying to do, but not great. Yeah. Ooh. Last one for TOS, Plato's Stepchildren. So the kiss.
Mm-hmm. Of course, iconic moment.
So one of the, not the first interracial kisses on TV. And again, it was a forced kiss. It wasn't
a forced kiss.
Yeah.
But it was important to have on TV. And from a certain point of view, it was the first kiss between a white man and a black woman on mainstream television in America.
Yeah.
There were various other instances of, interracial kisses between like American GIs and Japanese ladies in World War II movies, and Native American women in cowboy movies. And
can I tell you, because in the research that's popped up, one of the earlier cases of an interracial kiss on UK TV was on, I don't know, some stupid fucking show. It was like a hospital show. Guess what they did to the character, the black character who was part of the kiss?
Man or woman?
Woman.
Okay.
I would say guess what the most racially insensitive thing, but let's not do that because it's only setting you up for a trap.
Because like when you said guess what they did, immediately all the worst things that could have happened came to my mind. So why don't you just tell me what happened?
All the worst, like 1964, which this was. This character, shortly after the kiss, decided to travel back to Africa, where she died of a snake bite. So Africa, this terrible country in the 60s viewers' eyes.
Did they
It's full
did
of
they have
snakes.
like did they have like the thing with the plane going over and the plane's going over the globe and it's just and it just says it's just the African landmass and it just says Africa written across it. Cool.
I do not know. I presume it was just she was written off and then she didn't come back because she died via snake, which is, that it's the risk of interracial kisses back then. You're potentially written off as a character to die via snake.
Yeah, definitely. That's
in an untamed land by a beast of the land.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good way of, in media, that's a good way of dealing with things. You fridge someone. It's very common with gay characters. Gay characters are going to die. Let me just check something because
why you're so sure that Ortegas will die.
I mean, I'm fairly certain. I mean, she's just got it's the energy and it's the sass.
But in the track case anyway, in Plato's Stepchildren, the suits and the director kind of like wanted it not to be a kiss. And Shatner, for all his foibles that we talk about constantly, because Shatner has many of them.
Shatner is a dick, and I think that this story is somewhat it's connected to the fact that William Shatner is a dick.
Yeah,
like this scene was originally supposed to be with Spock, and I'm not entirely sure that Leonard Nimoy would have done this.
No, so Shatner decided, because you've only got a certain filming window, that he was going to film many a take where he kissed Uhura.
Mm-hmm.
So they only had very little time to film a take demanded by the studio and demanded by the director where he didn't kiss her. And for the one take he did do where he didn't kiss her, he crossed his eyes, so he went like this.
I was going to say, can you do it? Can you do it? Can you go? Wait a minute.
Can only do it for so long.
I can only do it if I do this.
Right. I need to.
Am I doing it? Am I doing it?
You're doing it.
Hey, I'm doing it. Cool.
So Shatner, after kissing this beautiful woman many a time, messed up the take where he didn't kiss her. So when they were looking at it the next day, the director, head in his hands, the studio decided to go, I'll just pick the one where he kissed her. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I read that it was. I heard that it was the other way around. That they did many takes, but where many, and that all of the takes where they didn't kiss, he fucked up.
Yeah.
Looking directly at the camera and shit, going cross-eyed a lot. Again, there are multiple different versions of a lot of these stories.
I think it's a lot more believable for Shatner to kiss a beautiful woman many a time than him be like, oh no, I won't kiss a beautiful woman
many times. Yeah, you make a good point.
Yeah,
I mean, it is Shatner. Like Shatner, it was Kirk doing the kiss because Shatner insisted.
Yeah. I've just realized this is another segment of Shatner Pants, isn't it?
Oh yes, this is definitely.
Yeah.
This is definitely a ding 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 Shatner face moment. I'm gonna get a bell.
I really regret changing Shatner Pants to Shatner Face.
You shouldn't have said it.
I shouldn't have
said it. You shouldn't have given me that.
I shouldn't have.
I'm gonna get a bell for Shatner Face.
Yeah. So anyway, beyond TOS, came back for the animated season, or the animated series, probably because of Nimoy and all those guys decided that they're not going to do it if they're not going to get Walter Koenig and everyone back, really. Yeah. Was replaced half the time with Emrez, a very sexy cat.
Man.
Says you.
Fuck yeah.
I think she's just a normal cat. You say she's a very sexy cat.
Oh, she's a sexy cat lady.
Yeah, I can't help myself. She's a sexy cat.
I'm gonna send you a out of context comic panel of Mares.
Please don't.
Trying to seduce Sulu.
Okay. But there
You're
is an
gonna
episode.
love it.
There is an episode of the animated season where all the men get hypnotized, and it's the first episode where Uhura takes control of the Enterprise. She's in the captain's chair because all the men have gone like it's a classic mermaid tale, really, where all the men are hypnotized and all the women have to fight for them.
Men
just hypnotized by women.
Men, am I right?
Yeah.
Ladies?
No. Okay, so Uhura in the movies. What is your overall thought of Uhura in the movies? Because I've got one written down here. There's 6 movies with her in.
To be honest, it's when you look back over Star Trek history, Star Trek is made up of many, many ensembles.
Yeah.
And I think other than Discovery seasons, 1 and other than Discovery season 1, I would say that TOS as a whole, from the series through the movies, probably makes the least use of their ensemble. I feel like Uhura was sorely underused, especially in the movies.
Yeah, to such a high degree. Like I've got here Search for Spock, where they're doing like the breakout of the Enterprise and stealing away McCoy and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's her moment in that movie. That's her
moment. She, transports the rest of the cast onto the Enterprise and then meets them an hour and 20 later. She's like, I'll meet you on Vulcan. And then she's on Vulcan and she's like, hello guys, I'm on Vulcan.
I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit shit for her on that film.
Yeah, man. And because of that, she was the only person, other than Scotty, she was like, everyone else is getting to wear cool weird future disco clothes. She's still in a fucking uniform. That sucks.
Outrageous. Final Frontier. She does the fan dance.
Weird. Don't like it.
Weird. Not good. I like Final Frontier. Don't like the fan dance. Don't like anything on
weird.
The Planet of Peace, whatever it is.
It's a weird choice narratively, like we said on our recent appearance on Intoxicated Masculinity. That's a weird plan.
Yeah. When they're, you could just walk down there and you've got guns. They've got, or
you could lure them away instead of making them stop dead in their tracks in their tactical positions that they've been waiting in.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, it's a weird choice. Definitely a Shatner choice. Shatner made that movie.
Yeah.
It's just.
I mean, she was a dancer in her skills, but she wasn't a fan dancer. And who's running after a 50 to 60-year-old fan dancing woman?
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't mind the whole thing of Uhura coming on to Sky though. Fine with that. She spent years looking at this big strapping Scotsman with his big forearms.
Yeah.
Fucking screwing shit in.
She brings him a bag of crisps. It very much looks like at the start it's just a bag of crisps, and I understand it's like Starfleet rations, but it's just like a bag of crisps where you've scratched off the brand, so it's just the silver underneath. It's just that. So, like at the start, where Scotty's fixing up the Enterprise ready to go, she brings him up a bag of like Starfleet rations.
Yeah.
But it's clearly just like a bag of crisps, like a bag of fucking Monster Munch, where they've scratched off the branding of Monster Munch.
They've turned it around, and they've taken off the nutritional information.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, I suppose.
Yeah, here's your Russians. He's like, oh, we used to have these. We used to have these in fucking Aberdeen.
Yeah, he just picks out like Monster Munch fucking arm or whatever.
Pulls out a little sachet of salt, turns it
Yeah.
up, pours it in, shakes up the bag.
Undiscovered country. She can't speak Klingon.
Yeah, man. That's my least favorite part of the whole movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, I suppose, where they're like rifling through a book and going like, ha, 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 ha. But it's not good. It's nowhere near being
it's
good.
The fact that she's rifling through the book.
They have to make her dumber. They have to make her
they
so
have to
fucking dumb.
dumb her down for the scene. Like, yeah. And like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess they just wanted to inject some humor into the process that's going on, because like, you know, when that happens, there's a whole bunch of shit going on. They're like, you know, we need to go, we're on prison over here, we're doing an investigation, we're fucking, you know, hacking into people's comms and shit, we're doing this, we've got to have some levity.
Other than Scotty in Final Frontier, where he hits his head on the, like when he says, oh no, you want to go this way and left and whatever, I know like this ship like the back of my hand, and then walks into a pillar and faints. You know, it's the worst that they've treated a character on that show or those movies. Other than that, maybe where Scotty just hits his head and faints. Yeah, which is like, I've forgotten my ability to speak a language that with a race that we constantly, you know, have to bump into.
Yeah,
the hell's that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another example of a bridge officer incompetence in the films, and yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah.
I did like the comedy moment in The Voyage Home with Uhura and Chekhov on the street, pulling in a real passerby.
Yeah.
And like, you know, one of my favorite all-time, like, you know, improv movie moments where they, you know, along with like, it's right up there with I'm Walking Here as like just a thing that happened by virtue of filming on a city street.
Do you know the story behind that as well?
Yeah, they're filming the scene and this woman just walks in the shot and they just ask her if she knows where the whales are, and she's like,
no, it was supposed to be that she says nothing like everyone does.
Oh,
and
right.
Then the you know extra improv that line, and they went like, that's a really good line, we'll keep that.
Yeah.
And then they had to, because acting unions and everything, they had to get her up as like an official actress, so they had to pay her acting dues.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Which, you know, to be fair, if you're going to use the line and say like that is a really good improv line, you should be paying the dues.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. That is
Quick
like
with it.
Fantastic.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The way to Alameda, you know. Fantastic.
Get paid, baby.
Rain.
Yeah.
For the character of Uhura, so I've got a bit in the notes here of after the movies.
What happened? What happened to Uhura, man?
So
we're talking Alpha Canon. Okay,
well, I can do a very quick line of Beta Canon if you want.
Yeah, so like give us some flavor of the Beta Canon, the Star Trek legends, if you will.
The Beta Canon, and I don't have the paper book. It's about 10 meters that way or 5 meters that way. My flat isn't that big. It's 5 meters that way. In the autobiography of Jean-Luc Picard, she's Federation president.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
Which is all good.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. In Alpha Canon, so this is all from the series Picard.
Yeah.
She's the captain of the USS Leon Durance. And I'll be very happy for someone to correct me on my pronunciation.
Let's have a look at this. Let me see.
DeGrance, sorry. Leon DeGrance.
The Leon DeGrance. What is that? Yeah. Let's give that a quick Google. Carry on.
So it took from the name of Patrick Stewart's character in the movie Excalibur.
Oh,
So for a
okay.
portion of today, I was trying to watch the movie Excalibur to try and get how they pronounce his name.
Yeah, his kingdom of Cameliard.
Yeah.
In Cornwall.
Yeah.
Okay. So he served King Arthur's father.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, a lot of Arthurian legend is just French fan fiction.
Yeah.
So,
and if you're going to pick something for the series Picard, you might as well pick something that is one of Patchew's old roles, really.
Yeah, one of his old roles, and it fits because it's kind of French and kind of English.
Yeah. So that ship is modelled on the Shenzhou because they had the wireframe of the Shenzhou ready to go. Clearly,
I love the Shenzhou.
Yeah, it's a good looking ship for
the
compared to
bridge
the
on the bottom of the saucer.
Yeah,
I love that.
A good mix up. You know, you think of how hard it is to put a different style of a saucer, a main section, and two nacelles. And the bridge on top, and they just went
it's easy for it to look bad.
Bridge on the bottom. Yeah.
It's easy for it to look bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah.
But it's in a plaque in an episode of Picard season 2, where they've got the where they see Eleanor getting into being a Starfleet cadet or whatever, whatever Picard season 2 was. And it's her ship, and it has a plaque below it saying it was captained by Uhura. It went on a 5-year mission. It made 100 first contacts over 2301 to 2305. So busy ship. And then it became an Academy ship, 2317 to 2333. And we know from Picard season 1, because there's a certificate in the background of his memory hole, apparently, that says that was his first ship that he ever went to warp on. So Picard would have been training under, as a cadet, probably under Uhura, which is a nice bit of, connective tissue.
The first ship he ever went to warp on. I bet that is a nice milestone.
They call it like the Warp High Club or something like that.
The Warp High Club.
Which only makes me think of like
first time going to warp.
Yeah.
Hey, first time going to warp. You a little nervous? Take one of these.
Yeah. No, it just sounds like he fucked someone. Like it seems like the weirdest name for a club, because obviously now we know the Mile High Club and whatever.
Yeah.
And all it sounds like is like, oh, Picard fucked someone while at warp.
It's not even that creative. His first ship.
Yeah.
Not even that creative. Just make it slightly more crass and make it what it is. Say, looks like I'm popping. Oh gosh, I'm popping. Uhura leaning over a young Jean-Luc Picard. Looks like I'm popping your warp cherry, Mister.
Yeah. Yes. Gotta notice how old she was back then, because Bones wasn't looking great.
She was 160. She was 160, and
yeah,
she was 160 years fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm all here. I'm definitely here.
Yeah,
I'm sex positive.
I mean, it's going to really put it into
here for the representation of post middle-aged sexuality that Uhura provides in the Final Frontier. I've come around on it. I've thought about it, I've come around on the whole idea. I love the dance now.
I 100% know that, like, in Star Trek, because we know Bones was around at like Encounter at Farpoint, people are supposed to live a long time.
Yeah.
But then you see Picard in Picard season 2, and you go like, a long time, or just like a slightly longer time? Because he'll make it to 110 if he's lucky. That man.
I know, but I could believe Picard being the kind of person where he's like, they're like, where people are like, you can have all your organs replaced, and he's like, I've already had an organ replaced. Fuck off, leave me alone.
Like, I don't.
What do I need to live? I don't need to live for 200 years.
Yeah. He's dying season 3, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm thinking maybe season 3 ends right with a flashback scene.
You're stealing my flashback idea here.
Of a de-aged Jean-Luc Picard.
Okay.
And a young new Uhura. What's her name?
Celia Rose Gooding.
Celia Rose Gooding. 3 names. She might be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Celia Rose Gooding. Should we cut that out? Am I making a wild accusation there? No, no, don't cut it out.
No, it's fine.
So de-aged Jean-Luc Picard, exactly like in X-Men 3, just
smooth,
as unsettling, as unsettling, more unsettling even, and just Celia in
old person makeup,
old person makeup, Back to the Future Part 2 style.
Yeah. I mean,
does that sound like a good idea to you?
It would be a thread. They set up that Picard was on the Leon deGrasse in season 1 of Picard. They said that Uhura was captain of it in season 2. If they show them together in season 3, at least it's following a thread between seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
maybe.
And it would lead into my theory that they're going to have, well, not de-age, but recast young Jean-Luc and young Bev in season 3.
Okay, so
it could happen.
Are we thinking Hardy or McAvoy?
I'm thinking this new kid. I can't remember his name. I said it on last episode, but they've cast a young English actor or very, very posh English guy who looks like he could be okay bald. I reckon he's going to be young Picard.
I mean, James McAvoy has expressed...
He's back, oh boy.
James McAvoy is back, oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
He's expressed many times a desire to play a young Jean-Luc Picard.
He's expensive.
Obviously, Tom Hardy already did play a young version of Picard. I think that Tom
Hardy's probably the age now that Picard was in season 1 of Trek.
And playing Jean-Luc Picard would mean that he would not have to maintain the body of a fucking silverback gorilla. Because, Tom Hardy when he played Shinzon is one thing, but Tom Hardy now is a different fucking beast entirely. And I mean beast. Beast with all capital letters.
Yeah.
That man is a fucking monster truck.
Yeah. He'd have to stop mumbling now. There was a survey and it was like the least comprehensible actors or the least comprehensible actor in the US was Tom Hardy because half his roles he affects like a real mumble accent. Or
Tom Hardy
wears a mask or some shit like that.
Tom Hardy never acts with his normal voice.
Yeah, which is a shame. He's got a fine voice, But just looking up then...
I mean, it's a voice. It does its job. It expresses words that, represent abstract concepts as well as his thoughts and feelings, his wants and desires. It's a voice.
But looking up, Patrick Stewart was 47, season 1 of TNG. Tom Hardy is 44. So if there was going to be a minor prequel and you could afford Tom Hardy, which they can't...
Tom Hardy does TV roles. He does TV roles.
Oh, he does expensive TV roles.
He does expensive TV roles, but he does expensive TV roles that he likes. And, Star Trek isn't exactly a fucking independent production.
Yeah, do you think he had a good experience on Nemesis?
I mean, I think he had a good experience on Peaky Blinders.
I think he was drugged up for Nemesis. Have you seen on the Nemesis screen tests or acting tests? Tom Hardy and Patrick Stewart have a scene together where they're having dinner. It's the dinner scene from.
It's better than the movie.
It's much better. Than
it's the movie. So much better than the movie. Yeah, it really is. You
go were you just directed poorly, or were you both of you just given up by then? What happened to this now? So that was her alpha canon as far as we know her, where she captained the Leon de Grant's, where Jean-Luc was a cadet and he had his first warp flight. So that's what we know of what Uhura got up to in Alpha Canon.
And I love that. I'm so glad that is out. That is Alpha Canon. That has something that has happened on screen, which means, by the laws of canon, that means it's real.
Real. No, it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Reunification of Ireland next year, and then in 300 odd years' time, it'll be a Patrick Stewart lookalike on the ship of the Lear de Grants.
It'll all just be perfect CGI renders of all the characters.
Yeah.
And in order to watch it, we'll all have to put on a suit and a headset and walk around.
Yeah. If only we could have that. Like there was the Unreal version of the Enterprise D that the folks at Paramount decided to close down because they're incredibly intelligent folks rather than just buy it. Anyway, do you want to do a bit of depressing stuff before we talk about Nichelle Nichols' effect on outside Trek?
Well, I mean, we don't want to do it, but
we don't want to, but we need to cover it at some point.
We should. And unfortunately, it's kind of a sad reality in the world, which is elder abuse, for lack of a better word, and when people with money get very old, people who claim to have their best interests start to deal with their affairs.
Yeah.
And so for the last, for a good few years leading up to Nichelle Nichols' last few years, there was a sort of custody battle over the conservatorship of who got to control Nichelle Nichols' finances. And this was a thing that was going on for quite a while between her son and her former management.
With her friend, I don't have the friend's name noted down.
Do you know what? We don't need his fucking name.
Yeah.
But because the guy was the person. Because so I'm unclear on the details of whether or not it was a three-way battle for conservatorship or if there was a sort of front between, Nichelle Nichols' son, Kyle Johnson, and her former friend and the former manager, or and it's sad thing, we saw it with Stan Lee, although with Stan Lee there was also a lot of accusations of mistreatment. And it's it's a thing that I used to work in an old folks home. I've never seen physical abuse to an elder, but I've definitely been around family members that were very clearly dip in, if you get my drift. The world's fucked, man.
Yeah. So we know in her later years to get her into a conservatorship and to exacerbate this, she had dementia anyway for a good couple of years. She had a good couple of strokes in the last year or two of her life, and she was still being shepherded to between cons to do signings, to make money, apparently to afford her estate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how much money do you need for the last couple of years of your life? I wouldn't want to be flown. Her last con was in 2001 in LA. So during COVID, flying a 80-plus-year-old woman to a room with thousands of people to sign autographs, doesn't seem right to me.
No, I mean, does it? But we don't know. We don't know what her financial situation was. What we do know is that conventions are a source of steady income for a lot of You know, the elder statesman of science fiction. You know,
Yeah.
if you've ever been to a convention and shelled out for an autograph, you get what I'm talking about. But you know, a lot of these people aren't getting acting jobs anymore, and
No.
you know they don't. You know, when you only do one thing your whole life, it's the only thing you know how to do. So it's not like you can get a job, like a job. Yeah,
But
sad,
sad
very shit.
very sad. But wanted to cover this in the middle rather than leaving off at it as at the end because it's fucking depressing, really.
Yeah, man, it's super sad. Kyle Johnson, by all accounts, seems like a straight up guy. Seems like a good guy. He announced Nichelle Nichols' passing on their website. Just looking at his, I mentioned there's an interesting fact about her son. This is on his Wikipedia page. In the early 2000s, Johnson had a radio show on KNFT, Silver City, New Mexico. And he did the left of center show. So basically he was the left wing representation on the radio station, and would also feature as like the left wing voice on Rush Limbaugh's show. Rush Limbaugh, obviously.
Yeah. Horrible
person.
Yeah.
The show was pulled from the air after just 2 months, reportedly due to pressure from local ranchers who objected to his content.
Fantastic.
So that was a radio show.
A story that never changes, apparently.
So that was a radio show pulled from the airwaves by ranchers.
My eyes are rolling. Let's see if the microphone can pick them up because it is making so much fucking sound.
I mean, like there is just no telling how racist it may or may not have been. There's just no telling. It could have been like because it's you know it's that it could have been like I'm not racist, but or it could have been this fucking left wing. The woke mafia.
Yeah.
Or it could have been straight up, I don't want to hear this from not on my ranch.
He's not a good disc jockey, you know.
Yeah, not on my ranch.
Yeah.
Not my president. Not my federation president. That's what they said about Uhura.
Yeah. Ugh.
Weird one.
Cardassian neck trick again.
Cardassian neck trick. So we mentioned earlier, you know, that Uhura was born, and she was born a child. I mean, Nichelle Nichols was born a child.
Yes.
She was the third of 6.
Most people born are really.
This is an interesting part, and I'm leaving.
This was something you learned today.
No, this isn't something I learned today. I have some interests in weird shit and dark shit, along with conspiracy theories and you know, true crime and stuff. I also take a bit of an interest in cults and shit. And this is why I'm totally leaving it up to Mike as to whether or not to leave this in.
As Mike bites his tongue, you know, Mike goes like, "Oh, happy to be left in," but you know, not fun. So, you know, it's not going to be a fun section, people. You know, if you want to skip to more,
like sections, say, this is the sad stuff.
Yeah.
So Nichelle Nichols' brother. God, I lost the page. Let me just find his page.
Thomas, you're saying? Was it Thomas Nicholson?
Thomas. Let me just get it back up. Thomas Nichols. So, Thomas Nichols' brother was a member of the Heaven's Gate cult. Now, if you don't know what the Heaven's Gate cult is, it was a destructive cult led by 2 misguided people, and the religion that their cult was built around was a a kind of an ancient aliens type deal. They believed that the messages revealed in the Bible were misguided in terms of like, well, when they said they saw an angel, really they were looking at an alien, and they just didn't know what they were looking at.
Which is
I need something stronger.
Yeah, which is, if you have that as a belief, that's fine, but maybe you don't want to go the route with these guys.
Yeah. And the Heaven's Gate cult believed the Heaven's Gate cult fucking loved Star Trek. They watched Deep Space. They fucking loved Deep Space Nine. They thought that Deep Space Nine was essentially like a pacified version of how heaven worked. Anyway, they committed mass suicide in the 90s. And Nichelle Nichols' brother was one of them. And it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was the first time hearing about it today when you said it in the green room before the show. I never knew.
It's crazy. It's fucking. It's one of those, like, you hear about like weird, we've mentioned a couple of like, moments of rock and roll Hollywood history. Cameron Diaz bought weed off Snoop Dogg in high school. Cool. The woman from the Mamas and Papas bought weed from Harrison Ford. Cool.
Who didn't?
Nichelle Nichols' brother was in a fucking suicide cult.
Less cool.
Yeah. Excuse me? Yeah, it's fucking weird. And I'll tell you what the weirdest and darkest aspect of this.
It gets darker than just ritual suicide.
Not as dark as the ritual suicide.
Okay.
There is a video testimonial by Thomas Nichols. They used to make so many videos. That's the thing. Like, Heaven's Gate got so popular before, like, not popular, but like renowned before everything happened, because like they were on the internet back in the day. They used to do. They basically had a MySpace page years before social media. And yeah, there's videos of all of them talking about how excited they are to go and join. It's fucked up. But I don't know. I guess I thought, like, we're not the kind of people that are going to shy away from news like that necessarily. We might cut this out. We might cut this bit out and leave the rest in. I don't know. But like, I mean, that's a thing that happened, and I think it's an important thing because, like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, at the very minimum, it could be a thing that someone can learn on and say that even if a family member is in a cult or something like that. There are before it gets resources to a extreme level as the Heaven Gates guys did.
There are what doesn't constitute a cult is a complicated matter. But religious trauma presents itself in many ways, and I guess since we're on the subject, if anyone is dealing with religious trauma, there are resources. Specifically, there is the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and there is the Recovering from Religion Foundation.
I'll put links down below for yourselves or for helping dealing with a family member in that sort of situation.
Yep, absolutely. That is, obviously they deal with, they have like helplines for people that are dealing with their own personal trauma, but they're great for resources if, like Mike says, if you are dealing with a family member who may or may not be seeming a bit culty.
Yeah. Oof.
Anyway,
Please let's move on from the unhappy bits of life, the end of all the terrible stuff in the letter.
Yep.
Yeah, it's worth talking about all the impact that she had in the wider world outside of Trek.
In the grand scheme of things, the most important thing she did.
Yes, yeah, very, very much, definitely. So there's a documentary on Amazon Prime, and my understanding is it's free for everyone. It just has adverts, which are painful to sit through as someone who's used to a digital age of streaming. But they're, if it's free for everyone, then all good. Anyway, this documentary, it's called Women in Motion on Prime. It's pretty much, it's not an in memoriam, but it is Nichelle Nichols' life through Star Trek, and it's mainly focused on her getting to and then working at or working for NASA as a recruiter, really.
Yeah, like a brand ambassador.
Yeah. So what happened was she was doing the con circuit
Nice.
for Star Trek, and they had people from NASA there. And Nichelle Nichols, was fairly blunt and said, that space is incredible, and all the Apollo stuff had happened, or Apollo 11 had happened by then, and said, incredible step forward for mankind, but no one up there looks like me, and kind of like called out NASA for that.
And it should, and there should be someone. I mean, like, have you seen Star Trek? That's what space looks like.
But if you're trying to represent mankind, just in case you run into an alien, you should have people of different genders and different colors up there.
Yeah, man.
But when NASA was recruiting for the space shuttle program, came to Nichelle Nichols and said, can we, we're trying to aim for a more diverse group of people in space. Can you help us? And she became, she consulted for them to try and get a more diverse group of people, making a company called Women in Motion. And, throughout discussions, it came out that Nichelle Nichols was saying, and not meaning herself, that, you need a brand ambassador who looks like the people that you're trying to recruit. And NASA went, well, you'll do. And that wasn't, her aim of it, but she took on that role and had, as most good people do when they take that sort of role, stipulations where they were saying, oh no, we'll film something and you'll beam down and be showed around a NASA exhibit by, one of our guys. It's like, no, Uhura's pretty smart. How about you just put it onto my company and we'll film it ourselves? So you can find it all on YouTube, this, video she did where she went around NASA as Uhura with a young girl, where her and the young girl are talking and, going through all NASA stuff. She went around cities, going to black colleges because, at the time it wasn't fully integrated. And organizations like the, let's see, I've got it here, the Black Pilots Recruiting Center, saying, any one of you want to come into NASA. She was also saying, when the Army and the Air Force, they take on people, and they said, as part of your role, we don't want you to try and recruit for the Army and Navy and Air Force and stuff like that. And NASA picks some people out of that. We don't want you to touch that. We're doing that okay. And she went, well, how about your rejects from there? When you say they're not Army material, can I take them? Because they might be like real science focused, but not real like
let me just compare the reasons why they're not Army material to their identification photo. Let me just read that and look at that and see. Oh,
yeah. I mean,
I would imagine that there were quite a few fucking like just stellar
outrageous
records.
racists. Yeah.
I would imagine I would imagine she saw just so many like just absolute perfect records of military officers that are for some reason not fit for this. And then she looks at that photo and sees a black man.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, fuck me. What do you know?
So what she did as well, because if you're going to talk about recruiting these, anyone into NASA, it's better if you know what the recruitment is. She went off and took months off a schedule of acting, and you see this in the future for her. She didn't really do much acting later in her life. She was pretty much a brand ambassador thereon.
Yeah.
To do NASA training. So she did the old landing a space shuttle simulation. She did the old going into a swimming pool in a spacesuit. She did all that sort of stuff.
It's cool. It's cool, man. Cool.
To train up on it. And she did land the shuttle and everything like that in the simulations.
Yeah, man.
Just so she could go and like when she was recruiting say like this is the sort of thing that they're training you up on to get people interested and infused on it. And interestingly at the time when the first shuttle was unveiled, it was the Enterprise. Never flew as a shuttle. It landed as a shuttle. It never flew as a shuttle. But
well,
so she was recruiting people for the Enterprise.
There are a few seconds of a particular Star Trek intro that might disagree with that.
Yeah, I know. I've got faith of that heart. Yeah.
Maybe it'll get repurposed as a commercial space liner.
I know it's sitting in. I've gone and reached over and touched the Enterprise, the real Enterprise.
That's
it's sitting
very
on
cool.
the Intrepid in New York.
Them shits is big.
It's big ship. Big ship. Yeah, I mean, it's housing a fucking space shuttle on it. Yeah. And then everything on the fucking deck of it as well. But that they decided back then that it was going to cost too much to retrofit to be an actual shuttle. So they're like, nah, let's move on to the Challenger. Let's make the Challenger instead.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, again, like we did sad, then we did happy. But this part does have a sad tint.
Yeah. Well, before the sad tint, so the stuff before the sad tint where her recruitment drive pushed up, is attributable for, I think it was 1,500 people before she started her recruitment stuff, which was only a 4-month long program going around the US, signed up for NASA. After that, there was 8,000 people signed up for NASA.
Wow.
So incredible. And then the recruitment that year, they had to increase the size of the class they wanted. They were only after 22 and then boosted it to 35 because they went, we've got too many good candidates because we've got all now these women joining and these people of color as well.
Yeah.
We've got to have them in, these are too good to say like, oh no, you join next year.
That's the thing when it's like, well, we only need the best of the best. And it's just like, well,
why assign a cutoff?
Yeah. Why does the best of the best have to be a select few? Maybe that's a systemic mindset issue that's built into society.
Yeah.
Man.
Fucking people owning 1% of everything. So, recruitments from that included Sally Ride, first woman in space, Guy Bluford, first black guy in space, and whole classes worth of people of color and women going through NASA and becoming astronauts.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so on the sad side of it, 3 of 7 people on the Challenger were falling into those categories of people of color or women. Sadly lost that day, obviously, whatever it was,
Bad
70,
shit.
whatever.
Yeah.
And, you see interviews with Nichelle, and is her usual charming, laughing self about everything. But when it gets to the challenger, because, of course, if you're the person who brings these people in and then they die doing, something like that, it's got to take it out of you. And it looked like it deeply saddened her.
A lot of guilt attached to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I want to bring it, but obviously, if people want to know more about that, it's one of history's great tragedies. But like I said, this was a very important endeavor. I said before, arguably the most important thing. I don't know if that's true, but I personally hold a lot of regard for scientific endeavors and for space programs around the world, because it is, regardless of whether or not it is the most important science being done, is arguably the most difficult science being done, and like JFK said in his commencement speech, we as humans, we do it because it's difficult, because it's a thing that we must overcome, and we as people, we need to overcome it together, and Nichelle Nichols helped us to really do that, to make leaps, to try at least make great leaps in science, using the people.
And she's just a first link in the chain. So her being on Star Trek and her encouraging people through the Women in Motion company to get into NASA, got people into NASA who wouldn't be represented, who are then seen by people 20 years ago, who are then seen about people now. So it's a chain of representation that gets people interested in sci-fi, gets people into STEM, gets people into NASA, who gets people, there on. So that as a directly attributable chain, it's hard to, you can't imagine someone, or can't imagine her doing any more for it, really. So
no. And it's a chain that at one point comes back on itself.
You talking Mae
Jameson,
yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's bring us back out of that funk.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about Star Trek is that it has inspired a lot of people into getting into sciencey shit.
Yeah.
And obviously Uhura was a very inspirational figure for a lot of young black actresses going into Hollywood, but she was also a very inspirational figure, as we've just discussed, for young black nerds. And one in particular, Mae Jemison. She became the first black lady in space, inspired as a child by watching Uhura on Star Trek. And then after she came back from space, she brought that chain round.
TNG.
Fuck yeah, man.
Transporter chief,
Yeah, mate.
That's...
I'd that's why she did it.
Yeah.
That's why she did it.
She directly attributes it to Uhura. So
yeah, man. She figured out a way. Like, she was much younger than Whoopi Goldberg. She figured, it took Whoopi Goldberg that long in her life to get onto Star Trek. I reckon I can do it in much less time by actually going to space.
Yeah. I mean, it's what Star Trek should be for. And, if it gets someone like Mae up to space and encouraging the next generation, then that's fantastic. Absolutely. That's what it should be for.
I compare it to Stacey Abrams You know,
Yeah.
Stacey Abrams as a politician, maybe not even as a politician. Stacey Abrams is an American politician for anyone who doesn't know who she is, and she is a Trekkie, and she holds Trekkie ideals. You know,
and had the honor of being the president of Earth in the last episode of Discovery as of filming this.
Bringing that chain back around.
Yeah.
You know, she got into politics so she could be in Star Trek.
It's a long way to go. It's, you know.
Hey, some might say it's easier.
Yeah. Depends what your ideals are. For some people, it can be easier, I suppose, but you dump not for Stacey Abrams, but you dump the chance of being in Star Trek.
Yeah.
So yeah, if people want to know more about that, there's the Women in Motion documentary on Prime. If people want to know more about the Shatner kiss or the Martin Luther King story on YouTube, there's an interview with the Associated Press or something like that in the US. You know, all decent stuff to look up on. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Beyond anything like that, a singer even into the 90s released an album into the 90s.
Yeah, man. I got to tell you, man, there's a song sung by Nichelle Nichols. You can find it. I played it a couple of times today. It's called Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's groovy. It's a it's a kind of jazz hall ballad type deal.
You'll never see the spark that's hidden in your heart on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, man, it's a good. It's good for sitting in low light, drinking a brandy and smoking a cigarette. Put it that way.
Very nice.
Yeah. If you, I'll also recommend slightly more lighthearted as well. There's the Drunk History retelling of the Martin Luther King interaction, which is, enjoyable. If you like,
who's doing it? Who's the main person telling it?
The person telling it is Ashley Nicole Black, and it's Ashley Nicole Black telling the story, drinking what appears to be gin and ginger ale.
Okay.
And it's the girl from That's So Raven playing Nichelle Nichols.
Okay. Very nice.
And that's enjoyable. And also the interview that I mentioned before with Nichelle Nichols. Neil deGrasse Tyson re-released it the other day. He misplaced it or something, but he put a call out on Twitter to get someone to help him repost it to his YouTube channel, which is such a kind of cute boomer on social media move. Asking for tech support on social media when you could just Google it.
Yeah. DeGrasse Tyson, you idiot.
I mean, there's nothing else really left to be said. I'm going to play this because I think it's fitting off my phone. I'm also going to say a joke that I thought of earlier. Women in Motion. Have you seen Star Trek: The Final Frontier? Well, you'll see Women in Motion.
What a lead-in.
Was that a good joke?
No.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man.
We've got the bagpipes going. You know, to such a degree, we had to do a special episode because obviously such a special person in the world of Trek and beyond, for her lives touched not only by Trek but her actions thereon. So we commend ye, Uhura. Nichelle Nichols. And to absent friends, hey?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to do the thing.
Yeah.
Live long and prosper, Mike.
Live long and prosper. And as I say, always to absent friends, you know, we miss these people that have touched our lives. So
yeah, dude.
Stay alive, Decay, Koenig, and Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
And Frakes. And I could do it by a person's absence. And and Spiner.
Don't read any deeper.
And Delancey and Frakes and Dawn.
Is this how we're going to fade out, just by listing people? And Wang and Crosby,
Patrick Stewart, Robert Beltran, Kate Mulgrew,
What we
Ethan
gonna
Phillips.
Do? Yeah, mate. Avery Brooks.